Today we'll be planting a colorful flower border and bringing order to the major chaos going on in this upper walled bed. In January, I planted muscari and ranunculus bulbs in here. I didn't have much success with the ranunculus, and you can still see them. I've left some but removed the majority of. I've decided to plant Supertunia Royal Magenta petunias in this space. They stay short so you'll be able to see over the top of them nicely, and they get very wide, up to 24 inches. So I've planted mine at about 14 to 16 inch spacing. Let's go. I'm using Surestart Starter Fertilizer by EB Stone Organics, which is in the Folgers tin. I'm adding it to every hole that I dig. I did find that the bed was slightly more difficult to get into than I imagined. The spacing of the petunias was in a zigzag pattern, so I would have a nice drift. And if I ran into any ranunculus in my way that I had left, I removed those. Because the soil was more clayey than I anticipated, I did add some compost around the base of each plant. And then I added some soil over the top of the whole entire thing to hide the drip tubing. Yay, a few weeks later, I found lemon coral sedum to do the border, and I have my fertilizer, and I began to dig and realized, oh my word, I forgot that I have this most amazing tool called a planting auger. This is an awesome tool. I bought it from powerplanters.com, and you literally just hook it into your drill and go. It does all the work for you. I'd highly recommend one if you're doing a lot of planting. That is the microphone, yeah.
This connects to that?
Yeah.
And then it's in there?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
Got it. Hey, welcome to Power to the Flower. Today I want to plant up this bed. Well, I already did, as you can see, and it took me a couple days because I had to find the plants. That was my main holdup, and it's been maybe 2 weeks from start to finish, but about since January that I've been looking for these plants. So I just want you to know what they are and why I chose them. As many of you know, if you've been following me for a while on this Zone 9 gardening channel, Power to the Flower, I planted two kind of chartreuse colored sedums. This one's called Angelina, and this one is Proven Winners Lemon Coral. Now, lemon coral is often used as an annual, and so actually in our Zone 9 climate, it is an evergreen, and I've been growing it in a couple places, including this one, to kind of just see what happens, especially in comparison to Angelina, which is kind of just the standard chartreuse sedum. Angelina turns kind of a golden red in the fall and winter in our area, whereas lemon coral stays its chartreuse color all year round. The problem that I found with lemon coral is that it blooms, and I will show you right now on the screen what the blooms look like, and I don't like them. They end up being kind of a long, scraggly stem with a flower at the end that isn't my favorite thing. And this happened to me last year as well. But what I found is once you remove the blooms, the plant continues to thicken up and becomes a beautiful mound of chartreusey green sedum that looked beautiful year round. And so every April, it seems, here in Walnut Creek, California, we have a blooming lemon coral sedum. Do you see them? It is to consider, if you're considering using one of these, whether or not you want to have year-round chartreuse color or whether or not you want to have kind of a goldeny red color in the winter. The next plant that I used was Proven Winners Royal Magenta, which I just watered, so it's a little bit tricky to see. But I did plant these about 2 weeks ago, and my dog seems to run through this area. So I'm trying to guard her out with these little objects, and so she'll either run around the edge or go a different way. So when we weren't blocking the path, she was just running through. This plant actually died. I had to replace it. It was just like a nub, and you can see this one is also where she kind of runs over it. So these plants have been in the ground over 2 weeks. There are lots of blooms on here now. I took out all of the muscari that lined here and all of the ranunculus if they were in my way. So I left them if they weren't blocking where I wanted to plant the Proven Winners Royal Magenta. And so we do have a few that are going to make it. I have to say I've been a little bit sad about the ranunculus. I think I perhaps could have done it better. Also, earlier in the year, you're supposed to do it in the fall. I did it in January. Also, you can give them a little bit of a head start by pre-soaking them and planting them, which I did not do. So I learned a lot. I have the bulbs to try again for next year. And so the last plant that I planted in here was a Spectabilis on either side, which is can grow actually, I don't know, infinity large. I've seen them but like 5 feet wide, and they grow about, I don't know, 2 feet tall, and then they send up these huge, tall, poppy-looking stems with a kind of a magenta poppy at the end. I thought that it would look really nice with these colors, and it will add sort of an end to the area with sort of a round structural piece. So I'm excited about those. I planted one on either side. They're also succulents, so they don't need a lot of water, but I think they'll do fine in a watered area. I'm still hand watering this whole area because we've run into a few problems with our drip setup, but that is eventually, everything's ready to go as soon as we can get our faucet sorted with our drip, our hose, and our faucet needs. We just have one faucet and we need to do a little plumbing. So some information on lemon coral. It is hardy down to 5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is zone 7 through 11, and it will be a perennial, or in our case in zone 9 and above, an evergreen. It is a very short growing plant, between 3 and 10 inches tall, and it says the spacing is between 8 and 12 inches. So I made mine about 12 inches of spacing because I want it to actually grow together and just be kind of a border of this area. It is it says part to full sun, but I've seen other gardeners plant it in full shade and have it be really beautiful as well. So I think it's a very versatile plant. These Supertunia Royal Magentas are also part to full sun. Their spacing is 12 to 24 inches wide and about 10 to 12 inches tall. They are also annuals except in zones 10 and 11, although my Supertunias, I haven't used this color before, but my other Supertunias, Royal Velvet, Vista Bubblegum, and Snowdrift, or is it called Snow White? I forget, the white one. They all wintered over for me last year. So that's why I'm using more Supertunias this year, because I'm hoping that these plants are going to be perennials for me and they will come back each year. So for the rest of our time, I thought I would just give you a couple updates on pots that I've planted over the last couple of months. These little wash bins that I got from Tractor Supply, I love them. I think they're so beautiful. I love the salmon geraniums, I think the best. They are making me the most happy. So what we have in here is salmon zonal geraniums, a green sweet potato vine, proven winner Supertunia latte, and proven winner Supertunia magenta with, here you can see it better, a red petunia. I think the variety is Red Madness. So it's nice what's going on right here. This is kind of how the sun is for these plants. They get filtered sun like this throughout the day. It's probably about 4 hours of sun exposure total, but I think we'd have a lot more blooms on these Supertunias if we had even more sun. But I know that as the season progresses, these will be getting more and more and more sun exposure. So I'm going to leave them here expecting great things. Again, you want to just keep an eye, because if they were not getting more and more blooms and the sweet potato vine was not growing larger and larger, we would want to move these to a place where they would be getting a lot more sun. But right now I think they're great, and I'm just expecting better and better things as time goes by. So everything that I'm sharing with you today is part sun to full sun exposure. I think these are the things that are getting the least amount of sun, and they're still doing pretty good, I think. So that's kind of a good thing to know in your mind. Oh my gosh, I'm loving the rock garden. I want to show it to you. Sorry, it's a mess with the hose and everything, but I love the chartreuse border with those hot pink flowers. I think it's going to give a nice border to kind of the crazy that's going on in the middle of the rock garden, which is a lot of green and occasional colorful flowers at the moment. But this kind of bottom piece is going to be a stable, colorful force to that kind of crazy inner area. here's our window box full of succulents. The thing about this that I want to point out is, remember, this window box is a self-watering, which means there is a water reservoir down here that holds water, and these are all doing so great. And I think it has something to do with the fact that aeoniums, which most of these succulents are, need more water, and so they are just loving their window box life here. Okay, and then last update would be this Scandon's Joan Lorraine in the full shade. It's definitely growing, but super slowly. This Asian bleeding heart, Spectabilis something or other, is loving its life, and there is a lamium under here, and I added a creeping Jenny after the video, which gets a little bit of sun. The sun just comes right here, and it is doing great. Oh, and the other Joan Lorraine is out here in the front, and it is really big. It gets afternoon sun, as you can see, and it's probably gotten 3 times higher. No. Oh gosh, there's my dog. 3 times higher than it was before. So that's exciting. I think it's gonna do well here. Sadly, I really messed up this guy, but I'm still hoping he'll come back to life. So I hope that was helpful for you in terms of thinking about part sun to full sun plants and how all of mine are doing, and some different varieties and colors that you might be interested in. So thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to giving you updates on Instagram and Facebook, where you can find me during the week, or I post videos on Tuesdays on YouTube. See you then. Bye.